Enjoying the show? You can help others find it and enjoy it too by giving us a 5-star rating or review. If you feel like reaching out to us with a question or comment, you can send us an email at mywifetherd@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit our website at mywifethedietitian.com, as well as our social media pages. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Enjoy the show. It's Rob and Sandra from My Wife the Dietitian, and this is Nutrition Nuggets.
Yes, a nutrition nugget. How to cook dried beans.
That's something I've never done.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny, and I think maybe because I don't know how.
Yeah, it's scary, eh?
Well, it's not scary. It's just like one more step, and there's always the canned bean version available, and yeah, that's kind of usually what I end up doing. But I think you're going to get more bang for your buck with the dried beans, right?
Yeah, remember I just
more
picked
options
up
and stuff
yesterday. It was I don't know how, like it was a big bag of lentils, the orange ones, for $2.
Yeah, it was a massive bag.
Yeah,
because when you buy them in a can, they're already cooked, right?
It's not cooked. They're light cooked. So basically, if the dried beans...
But they're bigger is what I mean.
Well, they need to be rehydrated.
Right, okay.
So the dried beans are dried, just like anything that's dried. You need to rehydrate them.
Yeah, like rice. It's like buying rice.
Yeah. So, yeah, they need to be cooked before... they need to be soaked before cooking to replace some of the water lost in the drying.
Perfect.
Yeah, so part of the mission that we want to get more people eating more legumes and beans and peas and lentils.
Yep. Eat more beans.
So,
that's our bumper sticker.
That's why we should do a nutrition nugget on how to cook dried beans.
Yeah, great idea. I will benefit from that for sure.
You know who does this all the time, like continually, is someone that we interviewed.
Oh, Scott.
Yeah.
Our friend Scott. Yeah. He's vegan, so he needs to eat more beans as it is because he doesn't eat meat.
Yeah.
So beans are a big staple in his life. But yeah, he's the master of the bean, the cooked bean and lentils and all the ways you can cook beans. And the stuff he eats is mouth-watering. Yeah, it's fantastic looking. So we're going to see him soon. So we'll have to steal some recipes and get some tips on what his secrets are for cooking with beans.
Yeah, absolutely. He did a blog article called Vegan for Runners, and that was the episode also. So that's a good one to listen to for people.
Yeah, that was way back.
Yeah, because beans are so loaded with plant-based protein, iron, fiber, folate. It's just, they're nuggets of goodness.
They sure are.
So how to cook them. So thinking all the different types of beans. Well, you had a question.
I did?
A minute ago.
Like before we started, you mean? Mm-hmm. Oh, I was just going to ask you if all the different types of beans are all cooked the same way.
Good question.
Like, is it like pasta where it doesn't matter what the shape of the noodle is? It's still sort of similar kind of cooking method?
Good question. Actually, no. They are a little bit different. Okay. The lentils are very tender, and split peas also, and they don't need the extra soaking like you do with the kidney beans, the Romano beans, the black beans. Pinto.
When you say extra soaking, you soak them first and then you cook them? Like pre-soak them? It sounds like laundry.
Yeah.
If they're really dirty, you got to leave them in there a little longer.
With the lentils, like the orange lentils, you can put them right into your soup without soaking them first. Whereas you can't really do that with the chickpeas. Your pot
of soup, you mean? Or not like I'm just about to eat my bowl of soup and I can put some lentils in it?
No.
Like you mean a pot of soup that's on the stove?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You can do that with some noodles too, right? Some, I think, I've seen that. Some of the noodles that are sort of half cooked, you can throw them in. And the heat of the soup will cook the bean in this case.
So when you're making soup, you'd have to have canned chickpeas or canned black beans, not dried, to add to the soup. But you can add dried orange lentils.
Oh, because
does that make sense?
Yeah. And that's because they're small and they don't require a whole bunch of extra cooking.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
They're tender. They're less hard.
I don't know if I've seen canned lentils. They must have that too, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's not one of the typical ones that I buy, because we usually have the little ones. But I didn't know that you could just use them raw like that. That's yeah, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you need to rinse them the way you do canned beans? Yeah.
Yeah. So with any bean, you got to clean them and wash them first. So kind of like rice, like you don't want to just throw rice right into the whatever you're making. Like you kind of want to pick out, like with the beans, you want to pick out the ones that are cracked, broken, just aren't.
Really?
Well, I mean, you kind of just look through and you could see.
Like quick. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that seems like there'd be like 400 little beans and you got to go through them one at a time and see if there's cracks on them. And
there might be foreign material in there, little sticks or pebbles, possibly. You never know. And so
you never know.
Well,
love it.
I mean, it's true though.
No, I
mean,
agree.
You think of where you're getting your, different beans and stuff, and you want to make sure that you're just going through them and then putting them in a strainer and rinsing them.
Right.
Just like you would with rice. We've talked about that before. But then soaking. Yeah, the long cold soak or the quick hot soak.
I prefer a quick hot soak myself. Or a long hot soak. Actually, that's ideal.
Yeah. So so the overnight soaking is basically just add about 3 cups of water for each cup of beans.
Did you say overnight?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it could be that's like the long cold soak.
Oh, I got you. You got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just let them sit overnight, like soak for 8 to 12 hours, and then you drain them. Or a quick soaking method would be turn it on the stove to high heat and heat the beans to boiling. And then turn down the heat to low and simmer for 2 to 3 minutes. And then turn off the heat. And then you cover and let it stand for an hour. And then you drain.
And then they're done?
And then they're like canned beans.
Oh, okay. So a bit more mushy and soft. And then you can add them to whatever you're making.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly. So then you want to cook your dried beans. So there's 4 steps. Cleaning and washing. Soaking. Rinsing and cooking.
Perfect. And what's the time frame on that? Is it like making a pot of noodles, or is it longer? I mean, if we won't include the overnight part, but
so when you start cooking them, so to cook kidney beans or black beans, pinto beans, those lima beans, they take approximately 50 minutes to cook.
Now, when you say cook, are you talking about the step we just went through, or is that like pre-cooking?
That was soaking.
Soaking. Okay,
yeah,
so how long is that?
That was like rehydrating. And
that's
now
like half an hour?
You're not going to eat just like a bean that's soaked. You have to cook it.
Right. But that's what I meant. How long was that process? I'm just trying to do the math in my head of how long, and maybe this is why people don't cook beans, because of the time involved to get them to your plate.
Well, we talked about the long cold soak overnight.
Yeah. So there's that.
Yeah.
So that doesn't require you to stand there and watch them. So you can just let them sit. And then you put them in a pot on the stove, you said, for what, 20 minutes, 15 minutes?
So the thing is, there's other ways to cook them too, with pressure cookers now, Instant Pots, the slow cooker, microwave oven.
Oh yeah, microwave.
For cooking beans.
For the cooking part.
It's it's not recommended in the microwave.
Doesn't sound like the right place to cook them.
No.
You'd
have little pieces of beans all over the
yeah, like little bean bullets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, I think the old-fashioned pressure cookers, they used to get clogged up with the vent, but the Instant Pots, I think, are much more modern and useful.
Interesting. Yeah.
For beans. And as I mentioned, like lentils are really easy to add to soups.
Well, how do you do it? Because you're not standing in the kitchen for hours on end waiting for the beans to cook. Like you soak them and then you throw them in the Instant Pot for whatever long it takes, and then you leave, right?
Well, with the I usually make lentil soup, and I just put the dried lentils. I don't have to soak them. I just
Because it's a pressure cooker? Or no, because they're lentils. You don't have to soak them, right? Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So they're
So, but you just put them in and you add all the ingredients and you put on the top and then you're off on your day, right? You're not standing over the stove like stirring them and waiting for them to cook and all that.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, exactly.
But if you didn't have an Instant Pot, then you'd be a bit more tied to the stove, right?
Oh,
Like,
actually, I use the Instant Pot like a slow cooker. So if someone's got a pressure or a crock pot.
a crock pot. Yeah.
Yeah, then they can just add the dried lentils straight to the soup.
Yeah. It sounds like that's the way to go. I can't imagine standing over the stove waiting for the beans to cook, well, pre-cook or rinse or whatever you said, and then having to cook them again. Like that to me sounds like a long process.
I think we're going to probably have to interview Scott Fickerson again because he does this all the time, and it would be a good opportunity for him to explain his process because he does it like for 7 years or 8 years probably now, or 9 even, has been a vegan, and he's been using beans daily. And
I wonder how many beans he's eaten in that time. It's got to be in the millions.
It's great. It's awesome. Yeah. So there's a good rule of thumb. So how much to cook if you're thinking of the beans, like the dried beans that you've soaked. If you need 1 cup of cooked beans, then you use about half a cup of the raw dried beans.
Okay. So they basically double in size then.
If you need 4 cups of cooked beans, you need, 2 cups of raw dried beans.
That's cool.
So it's kind of a good rule of thumb.
Sure is.
Yeah. And they're, very inexpensive, plant-based protein, high in fiber, a good way to add good quality nutrition to your meals. So I think when we started this podcast, we were saying, try to have beans twice a week, kind of like the fish rule of thumb.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm suggesting to people to eat beans like half a cup a day if you can. Like,
right.
Remember, we've been pretty much doing that.
Yeah, we eat them in a variety of different ways. There's a lot of different beans that we include in different things. And hummus is a bean. I mean, that's made from chickpeas, right? So we eat a lot of hummus. So that's one way of getting the beans in. I eat tons of peanuts. I mean, that sort of counts, I guess, as a legume anyway.
Yeah, black bean burrito, lentil soup.
Oh, right.
Salad.
The soup. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've said this before too, but buying that mixed, the bean medley that's in dressing, like it's in a can. It's like whatever, $1.50 for this mixed bean medley salad. And you just open the can and eat it. It couldn't be any easier. And it's delicious. It's got like an oil and vinegar kind of like seasoned kind of dressing on it. It's delicious. And yeah, you literally like open it and eat it.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
So there you go. You can add that to a salad, or it can be your salad, or So there's easy ways to get the beans. And
all the canned beans are great too. I mean, just having those pinto beans, you add to your lasagna. Like you can actually add beans to your pasta or your soups or stews, where even if there's already meat in there or chicken, you can just extend the meal by adding a can of beans.
Yeah.
And with the canned beans, you want to rinse them. Make sure you rinse them first. Don't just open the can and add them in, because all of those juices they're sitting in, the fermentable sugars, are going to cause a lot of gas and bloating. And then if people are turned off with those effects that they're getting from eating beans, they're probably not going to want to eat beans again. And
exactly. I mean, you learn that in like kindergarten in the schoolyard, right?
In the schoolyard.
The effects of beans. The effects. I like the way you said that. The effects of beans.
Well,
so that's preventable.
Yeah. And the more you eat the beans, the more you develop the enzymes to break down those beans. So if you cut foods out of your diet, it's going to be harder for you to digest them in the future.
Yeah, your body won't recognize them.
Yeah, it's good to include, the diversity of plant foods. We want to have more. And beans are part of that.
There you go. Right on. Well, thanks for sharing those tips. Check out our website if you want to know some more fun nutrition tips, some good articles on our blog. There's some recipes on there probably too. There's so many on there. I've forgotten what's actually there. You can sign up for a newsletter too. There's definitely recipes in there. Well, food ideas, I guess. Recipes, nutrition tips, updates, just all sorts of different things that we're up to and that we want to share with you. So that's free to join. You can sign up on our website. You can send us emails too if you're interested in knowing more. If you want, if you have a question you want answered, we're happy to do that. So you can email us at mywifetherd@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Feel free to reach out to us there. Don't forget to share the show with your friends and rate and review. Both super helpful. We'll be back next week with a full episode. So until then, have a great week, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on My Wife the Dietitian. If you like what you heard, don't be shy. Leave us a comment or review and be sure to share our podcast with your friends. If you'd like to hear more, hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on our social media pages for updates, episode trailers, and other odds and ends. For more info and links on what we discussed on today's episode, check the show notes. We'll be back next week with another informative and fun-filled episode.